Hello, ART195 class, and welcome to the April 1st edition of Remote Instruction. It's been 3 weeks now, and for some of you, the transition has been awesome. I know I sent out a separate email on this, but just to make it clear here in video form as well, if you have not been doing anything in the class, the department chair has informed me that I need to drop you from the class. So if you haven't turned in anything between March 18th and April 8th, on April 8th noon, I will drop you from the class. If you do not wish to be dropped from the class and have some extenuating circumstances, please let me know well before April 8th, but it would probably be better for you if you're not going to do the work, if you just drop the class. But if you do want to, if you haven't been and now you are ready to go, then please do so. You still have the 2-week late grade policy that's explained in the syllabus and in the first day videos. Just go back to watching those early videos that I posted around March 18th and then catch up on anything that's less than 2 weeks late. To give you more time working and less time listening to these videos, I'm going to cut down on repeating myself as much as possible. So I won't be talking about what's due next week and then next week going over the same stuff. So what'll happen is you'll have to go back to the last video that I made. So if it's April 1st today and the last video was, what would that be, March 25th or something like that, you'd go back to the March 25th one, listen to that for how you turn in the stuff for today. But if you're taking great notes, then obviously you don't have to watch the video. You've got everything in front of you in your notes as to what you need to do to turn it in. Okay, so what'll happen is the first part of the videos, I'll address any new things, and the biggest new thing for us was that we now have the ability to get you the Adobe Creative Cloud for free for the next few weeks or whatever. I don't know if anyone's actually set an end date on that yet, but it was very generous of Adobe, and hopefully if you can take advantage of it, you are. And then what will happen is after we talk about anything in the videos that is new or particular to today that wasn't mentioned last week, then the second part will cover what is going to be due a week from now. And in our case, it'll be 2 weeks from now because you have spring break coming up. And I will post those videos as I have been. I'll embed them right into the Canvas announcement for the week they were released, meaning that this week's video that you're watching right now for April 1st will be posted in the announcement that starts with 4/1/April 2020 and so on. All right. So I do really hope you enjoy the spring break. Those of you who have stayed up with this, you probably really need a break. I'll now show you the announcement, and there's quite a bit to explain here, so there's a small chance that I may have to go into a second video. Okay, so for April 15th, we are going to start class, well, not start it, but at 3 p.m. on April 15th, we will do a Zoom meeting. Here is the link that you click on to go to the meeting. You don't have to install any special software. You just click on it. From what I've heard from students, it's better if you're not on a phone when you do it, because if you have a question that involves sharing your screen, obviously you don't have this. Well, I guess you can't even share a screen on a phone, or most of them anyway. And so the main reason for this Zoom is, one, just to kind of check in with everybody, but also we have a group assignment that we can still accomplish even remotely. So I want to go over that, assign the groups, make sure there's no questions on that. I'll answer any questions on the group assignment, on the final projects, and go over any other questions that you have. And you don't have to wait until this Zoom meeting on the 15th. You can still feel free to email me questions. Okay, so the things that you want to have ready to turn in for April 15th is Chapter 5. Somehow I flip-flopped Chapter 5 and 6, but that's no big deal. The end result will be a Photoshop document, but you can just hold that for now and then just turn in a JPEG. So just go File, Save, create a JPEG that's somewhere less than 150 pixels per inch when you get the choice. Even 72 pixels per inch is fine. I'm going to have you turn in all three things for next week via email. And if you can, please do just send me one email with all three things in it. But if for whatever reason, you couldn't get one of them done, then, I'm completely fine with whatever you can get done, and turn in whatever you can't for late credit later. Okay, so Chapter 5. These other two things are not a whole lot of work on your part. They just a little bit of explanation behind them. So the first thing is you'll watch these videos here that are in the same place as you've been watching the videos, and I'll show you really quickly where that is and what the videos look like so you can find them easily enough. After you watch the videos, I want you to put what you learned in the video into practice by taking two small images. What I'm concerned about is if you take big images, you won't be able to email me or any other way post your PSD file. Without going to some third-party thing. So keep it small. I'm not looking for super high quality here because that's what the final project is all about, where you get to do a lot of masking on your photograph and stuff like that. So this is just to show me that you understand what masking is by taking two images and then you mask one of them away. And the reason I need the PSD file, not the JPEG, is to make sure you did it actually through masking rather than erasing, which is the inefficient way to do that. Okay, on the prof, steveg.wordpress.com site, you go to instructional videos, you go to ART195, instructional video set number 2, and then all the way down here after all the celebrity AI videos, there are masking in Photoshop, the basics. That's all you need to do is watch actually that video for now. These other two kind of take you through the process of adding texture to your image for the final project. But if you just get this one done, learn what masking is, and then just give it a try on two images. And I don't care where you get the images. If you take them on your phone, that's fine. If you just download them from the internet, it's not a big deal assignment. It's just one to see that you can mask. So I have no preference what the images are, what the quality is, just that you mask away part of one image so it looks like, the other part of the image, like a penguin all of a sudden is living inside of a volcano because you masked away the zoo part of the penguin and you had a picture of a volcano below on the other layer. Obviously, what I just said about the different layers and so on probably won't make sense until you watch the video. All right, the other thing you have is this is another very short, easy thing to do, but again, there's just a little bit of instruction behind it. So you're going to do the initial layout of the magazine project. So that's our final project, and let's make sure that you know where to get the file for that. So you go to Files, and then the handout for that is right here. It's 05 Pro for Project Magazine Texture. Go over to the three dots, click on Download. There's a lot of instruction on here, and I'm just going to cover what's important for you right now, and then we can go over more when we do the Zoom meeting. And just remember, once you click those three dots and download it, it'll either show up in your downloads file or down at the on the corner like mine did. So what you're going to be responsible for the process check for this final project next week, or next time we meet, is going to be to place your image in the magazine size. So you're going to set up an Illustrator document to these sizes. And remember, if you don't know what 7/8 is, it's just simply 7 divided by 8. And then you add that 8 inches to it. Or in this case, 11 1/4. So if you went into a calculator and you took 1 divided by 4, you get 0.25. So that would be 11.25. And I'll let you figure that one out. But do let me know if you have any questions. All of this information, in fact, I would change this to somewhere 21 just so it looks fresh once you get it in your portfolio. but all of this information will need to be on the document. So the title of the magazine, aka the masthead, the issue, and then you will pick one of these main storylines, and then you will pick 2 to 4 other storylines that are listed here. Okay, so essentially if you go to Student Work, Intro to Digital Media, Magazine Covers, you are not responsible for doing anything crazy to your face next week, just having a plain old image of you, maybe with a nasty, distracting background, but you will put the masthead in here. And there's several different ways to do this, and this is fairly in vogue now, where the image actually covers up part of the masthead, and then you will pick one main teaser article that you'll show here, and then 2 to 4 others. And so I'm obviously do not care at all about your image. I know that you will learn how to mask away the background. So what I am concerned about is that you get the type in there so that it creates a hierarchy, so that there's some type that's big, that's important, like this. This is the most important thing. What the magazine is. This is the second most important thing, and these are all, clearly back in third place. So notice all of these that I put on here have a nice sense of hierarchy where the type gets big and then the type gets small. That's all you are responsible for now. Okay, and I talked last week in detail about what to do to get an image for the project, and then we'll go over on the Zoom, any questions that you have about the rest of the process and what the actual learning objectives are in Photoshop, and then the actual grade for it. There are some important things to keep in mind as you work on this project, not just for next week's process check, but continually. What you want to do is take the image that you're going to be working on, open it up in Photoshop, save it as a PSD, as a Photoshop document. So just File, Save As, make sure the format is PSD or Photoshop document. As long as you're starting with a high resolution image, you're going to be good. So don't worry that it's larger than the magazine cover. Don't give any thought to its size, as long as it's larger than it. If it's smaller than it and it's less than 300 pixels per inch, then it's not a good enough image to do all the work that you're about to do to it. Okay, then you'll go in, you'll set up Illustrator to the exact size of the magazine, which is given on the sheet, with a 1/8 inch bleed. So that just means when you go Document Setup in Photoshop, you're going to see a section in there that says bleeds, and you're going to enter in 1/8, which is again 1 divided by 8, which is 0.125. You will place, and notice how that's big, place your image. Don't drag and drop it, nothing like that. You actually go File, place your image in there. That does a lot of things to your benefit. One, it's the best way to place an image in Illustrator. Also, every time you make a change in Photoshop, when you go to open up Illustrator, it will know that you've made a change and ask you if you want to update it and see that change, which of course you would. Most likely when you place that image, it's going to come in there much bigger than the magazine size, so just make sure you get a hold of the corner of your image, hold down that Shift key. You don't want to stretch yourself. Hold down the Shift key, resize it, release the mouse, release the Shift key, and you're good. And you can always change it later if you feel like maybe it's too big. But err on the side of your face being very big in there. Again, go back, look at the examples. It's not about, we don't need to see your whole body in there. It should really be not any lower than the collarbone. And I'm talking about your face, like right in our face, so to speak. Look at any magazine that's about a person, and that face is what you see, not the whole body. Now, every semester, some students don't read this carefully and get bit. In our case, you might not even get to experience this, but what's happening is when you place an image in Illustrator from Photoshop, it does not get embedded automatically. In fact, you don't want that because you want it to update when you do the work. But then what you need to do is carry, by carry I mean on your thumb drive or your cloud, a folder that contains your Illustrator file and your Photoshop document. And I'm going to run out of time here, and there's a couple more important things I need to say about that. So see you in the next video.